Your stained glass is a precious heritage entrusted to your care. Glass Heritage LLC has prepared this program to stand beside you and share some vital knowledge as you assess the condition of your stained glass. After viewing this program, you should be able to make an informed judgment as to whether your stained glass needs professional attention. Let's start with the basics. Just what is stained glass? Today, stained glass is the popular name we use for glass held together with lead came, used in creating windows with colored glass, stains, or paint. While colored glass has been in use for millennia, it was in the early 11th century that glass was first painted with trace black and other vitreous colors. Stained glass, as we know it today, first began to appear in the 13th century AD. By the 13th century, silver nitrate solution was used to create a limited range of color stains on the glass. It was applied to the back of the glass, then fired in a kiln. This resulted in various shades of yellow, and when applied to blue glass, achieved a greenish color. As the stained glass trade became more sophisticated, vitreous paint was developed. The use of various metal oxides, finely ground glass mixed with an acidic liquid, such as fermented urine or wine, allowed for a much wider range of colors. Here are some examples of early use of vitreous paint. As a young America grew and prospered in the early 1800s, the desire for stained glass grew right along with it. The first figural stained glass window made in the United States is the Adoration of the Magi window pictured here and located at Christ Church, Pelham, New York, and designed in 1843 by the founder and first rector's sons, William and John Bolton. For many churches, institutions, and private residences, the precious heritage of your stained glass can stretch back a century or more and can be the most valuable physical asset you or your church may have. It is important to mention here that all stained glass should be properly insured for the current replacement and artistic value. Regardless of its age, your stained glass can suffer from any number of time-related problems, which we'll cover in just a moment. Besides the ravages of age, your windows can also suffer from weather damage, fire and smoke, improper installation, structural issues with the building, and vandalism. In order to make an early assessment of your stained glass, here are some examples of what to look for. And just a reminder, before you learn what to look for, broken glass and broken lead can be razor sharp, and the oxide that forms on old lead, a white powder called lead carbonate, is a dangerous toxin. We'll tell you more about that in a moment, too. Let's get started. You'll want to look for things like bowing, bulging, or sagging glass, broken lead joints, gaps between the lead and glass, broken or missing lead, cracked or broken glass, flaking or deteriorating paint, persistent moisture or dampness, a fine coating of cement dust, or lead carbonate, which is deteriorating lead. Just like most people, most stained glass tends to bow, bulge, and sag as the decades roll by. You can clearly see the bowing lead in this picture and notice the stress cracks on the right caused by the bowing, further weakening the windows. Here are some examples of broken lead joints. You'll find the breaks where one piece of lead is soldered to another. The window on the left is a good example of what happens when glass and lead part company. It's a bit more subtle on the right-hand window. Notice the gap on the left and the light leaks on the right. These areas of flaking paint will gradually spread and grow as the deterioration continues. This unstable paint must be handled very delicately to prevent further loss. It's not uncommon to find windows with entire strips of lead missing. Now that you have a little better idea of what to look for, maybe you can identify the problems with this piece of glass. Here, the glass is pulled away from the lead. It's not too hard to see that the glass is broken in this area. Maybe a little harder to see are the broken lead lines right here. Nearly all older stained glass windows will display some degree of lead carbonate buildup, part of lead's natural oxidation process. Do not try to brush or vacuum this powder away, as lead carbonate is a deadly neurotoxin when inhaled. For that matter, you don't want it getting in your eyes or your mouth either. Glass Heritage knows and applies all OSHA and EPA protocols when dealing with lead and lead carbonate. We can get this fixed safely for you. A stained glass window is a living, breathing work of art. It stretches and swells with the heat, contracts and compresses when it's cold, flexes in and out with the wind. This continuous movement over the years gradually grinds away the cement of the window setting, as well as the weatherproofing within the lead cames, resulting in the dust you see here. This quick overview will help you determine if you need to take the next step, having an on-site assessment by an expert. Glass Heritage will give you a concise and comprehensive assessment of your stained glass conditions and offer solutions that will ensure the beauty and integrity of your windows for generations to come. We're also prepared to address any special considerations needed to make each restoration a success. Here, we needed to have portions of the pipe organ removed to gain access to the window. Special attention always needs to be paid to power lines and other obstructions on the exterior, as well as altars in statuary on the interior. The restoration process requires a team effort to bring to completion. First, full documentation of the site and its measurements, installation requirements, and special considerations is done by our site manager. After the windows are removed, a template is carefully cut and fit for each opening, guaranteeing that the restored window will make a precise fit. Once crated and transported to the studio, a rubbing and a digital photographic detail is made from each panel, revealing the lead lines and design characteristics of the piece. Next, after determining the stability of the paint, the window goes into a bath where decades of dirt, grime, and soot are loosened. Flaking paint is stabilized, and the lead is kept moist to contain toxic dust caused by the disassembly process. Each piece of glass is then carefully cut free from the old lead and receives a thorough cleaning. Once dry, the piece is placed in its proper position upon the rubbing made earlier. At this stage, broken glass is repaired using the copper foil or edge gluing techniques, or if it is too badly damaged, it is replaced. The cleaned and repaired glass now goes to the bench glazer, who completely rebuilds the window piece by piece, bending and cutting new lead, and finally soldering everything together. The panel is then weatherproofed, sealing every channel that holds glass and making the window a single airtight unit. The window is then checked for light leaks, polished, and put in queue for installation. When should you replace glass? A good place to start is wherever the original glass is missing, or if the original glass is missing pieces. Even if a piece is still in place with no visible light leaks, when it's broken beyond repair, it should be replaced. Here's a piece that came into the studio broken and missing pieces. And here's the new piece, cut, painted, and fired by our artists and painters. This piece has all the broken glass still together, but the piece itself is broken beyond repair. And here is the fully restored piece, again after painting and firing. Take a look at this example where structural settling and weaknesses in the window, along with years of neglected maintenance, resulted in a major separation of glass from the surrounding lead. During a restoration, literally miles of low adhesive tape can be used to hold the pieces together as the panels are removed from their settings. This panel was stabilized, crated, and transported to the studio. This photo shows how a panel looks upon arrival at the studio. And here is the same window, completely restored. Quite a difference, isn't it? If you like, you can visit our website at glassheritage.com and download a questionnaire that will help you evaluate your windows. You can also email us or give us a toll-free call, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Thanks for watching, and thanks for your help in preserving God's light.